You know, when most people think about hacking, they picture someone just banging on a digital door, right? But the most effective first step in any web assessment, it isn't about force at all. It's actually about listening. So today, we're going to explore a fundamental shift in mindset, how to hear what a server is already trying to tell you. Okay, so let me just start by asking you a question. When you first look at a target, do you see yourself as a hacker ready to attack? Or do you see yourself as an investigator ready to uncover a story? Believe me, the difference between those two roles, it's everything. Look, I get it. For so many of us, especially when we're just starting out, the pressure is on. The goal feels like it's this: find something big, find something scary, and find it fast. We all want that immediate win, that proof that we've hacked the box. But here's the thing. What if that rush, that desire for a quick win, is actually what's holding you back? What if it's making you miss the most important clues? That's exactly what we're here to talk about. We're going to challenge that impulse and look at a completely different way to approach this. All right, so let's start at square one. You'll land on a homepage. What's your first move? For a lot of people, it's a quick glance before firing up all the scanners. But we need to reframe this entire moment. And this gets to the absolute heart of it. The homepage isn't just some hurdle you need to get past. Think of it as your first interview with the target. It's your initial chance to ask questions, and way more importantly, to just listen. This first conversation really sets the tone for your whole investigation. Okay, so if finding something scary right away isn't the goal, then what is? It's this. It's all about building an evidence trail. You're patiently gathering these little tiny clues that when you put them all together tell you exactly what the server is, what it trusts, and where you need to look next. And you do all this without just guessing wildly. You know, let me tell you a quick story that just hits this nail on the head. It's about how a seemingly empty, boring homepage, what was basically a digital shrug, ended up revealing everything. All right, so picture this. The investigator is just staring at this page, and it looks like a total dead end. But instead of just giving up, they view the source code. And there it is, one tiny forgotten path to an icon. They follow it, and it leads to a default asset directory. And then inside that, they find a path to some old documentation. And just like that, the entire mood of the machine changes. The investigation just got a whole lot smarter. And this right here, this is the most important part. There was no pop-up that said, "You're in." No dramatic exploit banner flashed on the screen. It was quiet. It was an intellectual breakthrough, a moment of understanding, not of destruction. You see, that quiet breakthrough? That is the real reward of good enumeration. It's a totally different kind of prize than what most beginners are looking for, but it is infinitely more valuable. So this really boils it down to two completely different ways of thinking, doesn't it? You've got the loud approach, which is all about looking for dramatic banners and explosions, usually by just guessing like crazy. And then you have the legible approach, the investigator's path. That's all about building that evidence trail, understanding the target's specific habits, and just sharpening your next question. And that brings us to this really important concept, legibility. This is that magic moment of clarity. It's when the target stops being some generic web server and it becomes something specific, something with a personality and a history. In that story, it became an old Apache installation with habits. All of a sudden, you know exactly who you're talking to. So that sounds great, right? But how do we actually do this? How do we adopt this investigator's mindset in our own work? Well, it really comes down to just a few core principles. The investigator's mindset really boils down to this. Always observe before you act. Your initial goal isn't to break in, it's to understand. Success isn't getting a shell, it's sharpening your next question. The entire process is really about answering three things. What is this server, really? What does it trust? And based on that, where do I intelligently look next? And I really want to leave you with this thought, because it's just so powerful. You can get 1,000 correct answers from a server, but if you're not asking the right questions, those answers are basically useless. This whole mindset is about learning to ask better, smarter, more precise questions. So the next time you're facing a web server, don't just ask, "How do I get in?" Instead, just take a breath, start listening, and think about this. Based on what you see, what is the single most intelligent question you can ask next? Thanks for watching.